What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, undefeated, unified, WBC, IBF, welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, Errol the True Spence Jr. does an interview, obviously, to build up his upcoming this Saturday, December 5th, showdown in Dallas, Texas at Cowboy Stadium at Jerry World against two-division world champion, former junior welterweight unified world champion, former WBC welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, Danny Swift Garcia. That will be taking place this upcoming Saturday night on Showtime pay-per-view. With that said, obviously there's going to be a lot of interviews this week. This is fight week. You're going to see a lot of build-up, a lot of promotion for the fight because this is fight week and this is a pay-per-view event. With that said, Errol Spence has some interesting things to say regarding choosing Danny Garcia to come back after suffering a horrific car accident just 12 days after unifying the titles against two-time welterweight world champion superstar boxer Showtime Shawn Porter, September 28th of 2019. October 10th of 2019, just 12 short days later, Errol Spence suffered a horrific car accident, which the world saw take place. Today's time of social media, you have a clear-eye view to things that you wouldn't have had in the past. With that being said, Errol Spence says that he chose Danny Garcia. For one, he says that Danny Garcia was already on schedule to face him. He says that's for one. He says, I'm a man of my word, and I honor what I said I was going to do. He says I wasn't going to do what all of these fighters was doing to me. He says they were promising me, fights if I get a belt. He says like former unified WBC, WBA, welterweight world champion, superstar boxer Keith one-time Thurman, who told him, if you get a belt, you get a title, I give you an opportunity. He says I was chasing all of these guys, but they didn't want to let the new guy come in and play on their playground. He says I was chasing Danny Garcia, I was chasing Shawn Porter, I was chasing Keith Thurman, but these guys didn't want to let the new guy in. He stated, but I didn't want to be a man not of my word. So I chose to give them, Danny, stick to the script. I already had Danny Garcia on the schedule before I had the car accident. I was supposed to fight him in January. So with that said, he says that that's part of the reason why he chose Danny Garcia. Another part is because Danny Garcia is one of the best, and he didn't want any tune-up fights. He said, I don't want no tune-up fights. I wanted to, fight one of the best fighters out there. Another reason he says that with or without the car accident, I still had a lot of naysayers. I still had a lot of doubters. So I wanted to prove them wrong anyway, because I want to show them that I am indeed what people claim me to be. I am one of the best, if not the best boxer in the world. So he says that either which way, he wanted Danny Garcia because he wants all these guys on his resume at the end of the day. Then he stated, this was the big one when he stated that this is the second most important fight of his career. He says, for one, Danny Garcia is a huge name. He's a former world champion, two-division world champion. He's a superstar in the sport. He says he's a surefire Hall of Famer, and I agree. Danny Garcia is definitely a Hall of Famer. He says he lost two close fights at the welterweight division when he lost to Shawn Porter and Keith Thurman. He says, but Danny Garcia is a great fighter, and he has great timing. So he stated that, this is the second biggest fight in my career. He said the first biggest fight will always be the first biggest fight in my career, and that's the fight I had with former IBF welterweight world champion, British superstar boxer, Special K, KELL BROOK, when I went over to the UK, the foreign lands, in hostile environment, and stopped KELL BROOK in my fight over there and became a world champion. Thus the reason why KELL BROOK is a former IBF world champion, because Errol Spence took the strap up off his waist. So with that said, Errol Spence stated that that's always going to be number one in my career, due to the fact that if I never got the opportunity to fight KELL BROOK and I never defeated KELL BROOK, I would have never been a world champion the first go-round, being undefeated. He says, and these opportunities may not have been the same. So I agree with Errol Spence. That is his, signature moment in his career. And so he says, this is the second biggest fight, bar none, because I still have a lot of naysayers, like he stated, with or without the car accident. And, I had the car accident. So there's a lot of people that doubted me before, now they really doubt me now because they don't even think that I could bounce back. They didn't think that I would even resume my career after seeing and witnessing the car accident because, like I said, we saw the video so in real time. So he stated that without the accident, they still was doubting me. So that just heightened their doubt of me. They didn't believe I'll be back in the sport. And at times, you can see in another interview, not this particular interview, Errol Spence did say he was questioning himself, could he make it back? So he stated that he was asking his trainer, legendary trainer of the year, Derek James, who has 2 unified world champions under his belt. So simultaneously, that being Jamel Charlo and Errol Spence. So he says, I was asking Derek if he thinks that I could actually make it back. Is this a possibility? Can I actually do this? So he himself was questioning himself. And then obviously his confidence grew. It built up. And now, you know, he's 100% confident. Again, you can hear it in his tone. You can hear it in his voice. You can see it in his body language, right? And so he stated that this is the second biggest fight of his career. And the fact that he stated that lets me know that Errol Spence Jr. is going to be even greater than we witnessed before. Errol Spence Jr. is now going to be pulling out all the tricks in the trade, all the tools in his toolbox in these fights moving forward. Errol Spence is more versatile. He said another thing that made me believe that his approach to this fight with Danny Garcia is going to be very similar to that of his game plan when he fought Mikey Garcia, 4-division world champion, Mexican superstar boxer. So I believe that that's going to be a similar game plan. Because when asked, you know, about his fight with Sean Porter, he stated that he went against the game plan. That his trainers, his dad, they had a specific game plan, and their specific game plan was to box Sean Porter. It wasn't to brawl with Sean Porter. He stated, but I already had it in my brain, embedded in my brain, from the moment I started training camp, that I was going to be in a dogfight with Sean Porter because he was making mention of me not being a dog, me not being roughed up, me not being in a fight with a caliber fighter like him in that style of fighting. So he said I wanted to prove him and everybody else wrong. So I already had it in my mind, regardless of the game plan they set forth, that this is the fight I was going to be in with Sean Porter. So with that said, he stated, but moving forward, this is what he stated. He said, but moving forward, I am going to be a much smarter boxer. I'm going to just be looking to get the W, not looking to prove to the fans anything. And I'm looking to go home, make sure I go home healthy to my family. So in this fight with Danny Garcia, I'm going to be a much different fighter, much more smart fighter, and I'm going to just look home to get home to my family. So with that said, obviously, Danny Garcia has limitations. Danny Garcia has slow feet. Danny Garcia is not the most gifted athlete in the world. Danny Garcia doesn't have quick twitch fibers. Now, Danny Garcia is quick. Danny Garcia has a high ring generalship, and Danny Garcia has power in both hands, okay? Danny Garcia is a very smart boxer. He's very savvy. He's a counterpuncher, and he has a lot of power. But Danny Garcia ultimately doesn't have the versatility that Errol Spence has. And I believe in this fight now, you are going to see, and I pegged Errol Spence to win this fight 8 rounds to 4. Now you're going to see Errol Spence picking Danny Garcia apart and picking his offense very, very cautiously, meaning that he's not going to be a dog. He's not going to rush in. He's not going to be looking to get Danny Garcia up out of there. He's going to be using his skill set that he has, his advantages, and he's going to stick to those advantages, right? He's going to box Danny Garcia from the outside because he has the reach advantage. He has the athletic advantage. He's a southpaw. And Danny Garcia has the edge in power, but Errol Spence has the edge in athletic ability. Errol Spence is more quick twitch fiber, right? He has quicker twitch muscles, right? So he could get in and get out faster than Danny Garcia. And sometimes you can see Danny Garcia go to throw a hook when he's thinking about it, and he'll stop mid-throw, right? Because he is very choosy and picky when he lets his hands go. Thus the reason why he's accurate. He has great timing. He's a counterpuncher naturally. And so Danny Garcia at times when he think there's a punch there, right, he'll go to, you can see him thinking about it, he'll get halfway there and then he'll pull it back, right? And that's because he don't trust that he can hit the target, right? So he's more precise in his approach. And because of that, Errol Spence is not going to give him a lot to work with. Don't be surprised if this fight is boring. Don't be surprised if this fight is boring. Errol Spence is not going to give Danny Garcia a lot to work with, meaning that he's going to render Danny Garcia inactive. Because of his lack of activity, it's going to make Danny Garcia less active than he is. But Errol Spence, I believe, is going to be more accurate. Errol Spence is going to be looking to get a point system. Now, he's going to be looking to buzz Danny Garcia at times, and don't get me wrong, he's going to sit down on his punches, but he's not going to sit down on as many punches as Danny Garcia is going to sit down on. Danny Garcia is flat-footed. Danny Garcia sits down on pretty much all of his punches, including his jab. He has a beautiful jab as well. But Errol Spence's jab is beautiful as well, but Errol Spence's jab is quicker. So whoever's first is going to be winning the battle, obviously. And Errol Spence, because of his gifts, his athletic gifts, is going to be first. And so don't be surprised if this is a boring fight. Don't be surprised if Errol Spence, like I said, may win 10 rounds to 2, right? He may win 9 rounds to 3, right? Because it's going to be a chess match. Errol Spence is not going to give you the dog that you saw in the Sean Porter fight. He's made that abundantly clear. He's going to stick to the game plan now, moving forward. And he's disciplined. He's disciplined in between his fight, obviously, due to actually the car accident and due to the pandemic and social distancing. It forced him to be disciplined on top of that. So his approach to the sport is going to be completely different. Thus, you're going to see a more cautious, more precise, a more, technical fight out of Errol Spence than that dog you saw against Sean Porter. He's going to fight at bay like he did Mikey Garcia. He's going to use his jab. He's going to pick his punches. He's going to pick his opportunities, his jabs, his body work, right? I know people think that he's just going to go in like he did against KELL BROOK, high guard, walking him down. No, he's not. He's going to utilize the ring. He's going to utilize angles. He's going to look to pick Danny Garcia apart, score points, and get up out of the fight and move on to the next big fight in his career, which obviously he's looking to face 8-division world champion, Filipino superstar, who's currently the WBA welterweight world champion, Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao, which would be a huge fight and a unification bout because he has the WBA title. So with that said, the fact that he believes that this is the biggest fight in his career, he is going to want to make a statement, but his biggest statement is getting the victory. So don't be surprised if this fight is not all the excitement that you expect. Knockdowns and drag out. It's not going to be that. It's going to be a high-level chess match. And due to the fact that Danny Garcia is a natural counterpuncher, right, you're not going to see a lot of action because Danny Garcia is not first. Now, I believe he's going to attempt to be first because he understands that he has everything to lose now. This is his last opportunity. If he loses to Errol Spence, he now lost to Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, and Errol Spence. He lost to the best of the best at welterweight. And he may have one more opportunity at a world title at this level. He's definitely going to get other opportunities, but at this level, it may be slim to none. So let's see how this plays out. But I'm picking Errol Spence 8 rounds to 4. Unanimous decision. But drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed? Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.